everybody, this is Lily with Think Possible Things, and I'm happy to be back. Today I'm going to show you how to make this beautiful, blessed, grateful, living in the moment journal that has two covers. So it's a little journal that opens up, that has pockets on the inside covers here. I'm going to try to slide this in here without messing things up. There we go. It has pockets there. And then we're using tea stained paper, which you can find in my booth. And that's the second cover. We're also using some washi tape, and there's more pockets, more tape. So it's kind of like a double journal stitched together. So I show you how to do all of this. So I'm really thrilled to be showing you this. I love this little journal. I think I am going to use it. I'm going to use this half of it to write down things that I am grateful for. And then I'm going to use this part of it to write down moments that happened to me where I lived in the moment, I took advantage of the moment, and I just let things happen. So let's get started. So for this little journal, I did use all of the washi tape that Lisa has in her booth as an add-on for the Peaceful Heart kit. I used the kit cutouts. I used some of the add-ons. I used just bought this little add-on, and then the stickers, and that's what this is right here. This came from, I think, this one here, or not the kit, but the Icon Ephemera add-on, and then the stickers from the sticker pack. But this, I believe, was in as part of the kit, and one of these butterflies was part of the kit, and then I just had a little piece of string that I had on hand, or actually it's leftover thread from when we sewed. And all of this is from the add-on. We use thread. I'm gonna make thread available to you in my booth. I will have some brown if you like that brown. And then I also have kind of a greenish colored thread that's a dark color, and I can't find it right now because I think it rolled off somewhere. But I also used some of the distress inks to shade the edges of some of these. I used the mustard seed, and then I have the tea dye and the rusty hinge that I also used. I also used an awl, a needle, which I have available in my booth, and I'm still looking for that thread, but it looks similar to this color, except it's kind of a greenish, it has a greenish hue, but I'll make it available in my booth. For when we put this little journal together, I use you can use clothespins to hold the pages together while you sew and punch holes, or you can use those little alligator clips. We use, of course, a bone folder, some scissors, a pencil, and then score tape to hold the pockets closed and keep them closed, and of course a ruler and your glue. And oh my gosh, there's the thread right there in front of me. Holy cow, I'm blind. But anyways, yeah, that's the thread. And then the Nuvo drops, which I added here, and I'm waiting for these to dry. I've got the black one there because to me it just brings your butterfly alive and the center of your flower alive if you use those, that ephemera, I'm sorry. And I'm going to use some pink ones once this dries. I'm going to use the pink Nuvo drops to drop in some of these in here to kind of, again, and this one too, to kind of give those a little bit more dimension. And I think, I did use an X-Acto knife, but you can use scissors. When I made this here, this is 2 pieces of ephemera. I'm sorry, my first language is Spanish, and I want to go back to that and pronounce it the way I would in Spanish. But anyways, So I slit the top of this one here, and I slit that in, the flowers in. So these are 2 pieces of ephemera, and of course our little bee, but I used an X-Acto knife for that. I also used an X-Acto knife to cut our pages in half, but you can use a paper cutter or a utility knife. And I believe that is everything. So let's get started putting this cute little journal together. I forgot to mention that as part of your kit, your Peaceful Heart kit that Lisa has, I used the yellow cardstock sheet that's in there to make our cover. But of course you can use whatever shade you want. So what we're going to do here is we're going to use this paper and the washi tape for this part, and our paper measures 12 inches by 12 inches, but paper has a direction. When the water washes over the screen with the pulp and all this and blah 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 and the paper, it lays down in a certain direction. So if you take your paper and you gently fold it this way and then this way, you feel more resistance from one side than you do on the other. So here, this is easier to bend and this is not. So what we want is, this is called, this is the grain. The grain goes up and down this way, so that makes it easier to fold. When you fold your paper down, it's not supposed to crease wrong or break when you fold it with the grain. If you fold it against the grain, that's when you have the breaking and the tearing. So we are going to cut our paper so that we can fold it this way, or our little journal, so we can fold it this way and work with it. So the easy way that it folds is this way. We're going to cut it like this. So I'll be right back. Okay. So I've cut my paper, and I was very careful to cut it so that now when we fold it, it's a lot easier to fold. Next thing you know, we're going to figure out the half, and we're going to score that. So I'm going to bring out my score pal, and I know that this paper is 12 inches by 12 inches. So you're going to score it at the 6-inch mark here, just like that. And we're not going to fold yet. But if you don't have a score pal or any way to make score lines, just use a ruler, measure where 6 inches is, measure it on the top, measure it on the bottom, and use your bone folder and just create a crease. And so you end up with this, okay? And now the outside is going to be this way, and when we go to fold it, it should fold a lot more easily because we cut it with the grain. A couple of sheets of tea stain paper that I created. I do have some of these available in my booth now. So I'm gonna put one on the top and one on the bottom of my stack. And we're gonna find the grain, which, it's a lot easier to fold this way. It's going to make for a small journal. So I think this one, yeah, if we make it this way, either way. So we're going to make it so that we're going to cut this across like this, and we're going to make it so that when we fold it, we can fold it like that. So you can take, I'm going to get rid of this mat, and I'm going to use some clips. If you don't have clips, you can use clothespins. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a clothespin there and one on the bottom. And yeah, we're going to cut this way. So this paper measures 11 inches top to bottom. Half of that is going to be 5.5. So I'm gonna mark my 5.5 inch mark there, and then I'm gonna do it up on the top, 5.5 inches. And you can do this a couple of sheets at a time on your cutter, on your paper cutter, but I think I'm gonna use an X-Acto knife. I got one of these and my metal ruler. I like this ruler because it has a metal edge there. So I'm gonna actually line these up right here so that they don't move, and I can line up my ruler, these little dots. And I have to stand up for this, and I'm gonna push down really hard on my ruler. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna go slowly. If you don't have an X-Acto knife, you can use a utility knife. I found those at Ace Hardware. They have some nice ones. And you're just gonna keep going slowly until you get through the whole stack. There we go. There we go. We got a nice little stack there. Okay, let me see. There we go. So now we're going to separate our stacks. So we should have in the middle the two tea stain papers will meet, or if you've got some other papers you can also use. You don't have to use tea stain papers. You can use construction paper, watercolor paper, or even scrapbook paper. Okay, but we've got this one, which will go in here, and then this other one, which is going to go here. So our next step is to crease these, and I'm still standing. I've made a neat stack, and I think what I'm going to do is actually I'm going to put a pin there and a pin there, and let's see if we can do this. I'm going to bring this over, and you are going to get some creep. Your paper just creeps when you try to fold it. And this one you're going to have to kind of just play around with it. There, that's pretty good. I'm going to line up my edges, put my thumb in the center here, grab my bone folder, and we're going to crease pretty hard right here. Crease it on both sides. And then we're going to do the same with this one here. I'm going to line up my edges again. Put your thumb in the center and then crease. Okay, next we are going to stack these. I've stacked this one with the end on here and the other end on here, and then we're going to get a heavy book and put it on top of this while we create our covers. I'm going to take washi tape. I'm going to start with the widest one, and I'm going to go, I'm not going to put it in the center, but I am going to put it. Now I'm using this grid mat. I'm going to line up my edges here because I want to make sure I put this on straight. So I think I'm going to start right about here. And then once I get this on straight, I can use it as my guide. So I'm going to put it here. I'm going to put another one down here. Press down hard here and here, and then we're going to take we are just going to take random ones, and you don't have to cover up the whole thing with washi. You can do, you know, a line here, a line there. And I really like the texture of this paper, so I don't think I'm gonna cover it up all the way, but I am going to once you've got this, you can untape it from your table. That's where it's gonna go in there. And then cut this off. So that's gonna be our cover. And you can decide here which one you want to be the front cover. Ooh, I'm so glad I let that texture come through because that is really cool. So once you've done this one, you're gonna do the same thing to this one. Bring back your signatures, and this is what we're gonna do. You're gonna determine which cover you want on the top and which one you want on the bottom. This one's gonna be my bottom. So I'm gonna take the top cover and I'm gonna fold it. And you can take your bone folder and crease it. I don't know where mine is at the moment, but we'll use this. You're gonna crease it both ways so that this can fold both ways. Move this aside. Here it is. Okay, and then this one, we're just gonna crease one way. Okay, and now here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take one of our covers, or one of our signatures, I'm sorry. We're gonna take one of our signatures, we're gonna lay it down, and we're gonna put our cover on the top. And what we want is for this to be centered on there, top to bottom, or left to right, from here to here. We want it to be centered, and I'm gonna pin it. Okay, we're gonna fold it down like this. And then we're gonna take this cover, make sure it's facing the correct way, and we're gonna put this one on this one, just like that. So right sides meet in the middle. I'm gonna put them right smack in the middle. And then we are gonna take this and we're going to put it right here so that it straddles our paper, just like that. Okay, again, ignore those holes because I totally screwed this up. So we want it to be centered left to right, and we're going to put another little pin on it, and maybe one over here so it doesn't move. At this point, you're going to punch your holes through the whole thing. And now you're going to find yourself a little piece of paper, just a little strip, just like this. And you want it to be the exact height of your signature. So take it and cut it down with your scissors so it's the exact height. And then you're going to fold it in half. You're going to fold it in half again. And then you're going to fold it in half again. And what you want, when you open it, you're going to lay it down on your signature, make the top and the bottom match, and you're going to take your pencil and you're going to mark the center mark. You're going to mark the top mark where the top folds there, and then the bottom one where that fold is. So you're going to have 3 holes. One on the bottom, one on the top, one in the middle, okay? So from here, you're gonna take this off and you're gonna eyeball the middle. What's the center between the middle and the top and the bottom hole here? Mark it. And then what's the center between these two, and mark it, okay? Once you have it and everything is squared away, you've got it all nice and neat, you need your awl, and you're gonna poke holes where these holes are. So I'm gonna poke all the way through. You can use a cradle, or you can just do it the way that I'm doing it, and that is just going through all of these. Make careful not to poke a hole in your hand like I've done in the past. Poke a hole there. Poke a hole there. Okay, so we have holes now going through all the way. All right? At this point, we're going to start to sew. Okay, I have this dark greenish thread. I'll leave some in my booth for you, but you can also use brown, and I'll leave some of that for you in my booth as well. And then you can also find needles and thread, other colors in my booth. So we're going to thread our needle. I'm not going to go all the way down like, you know, traditional sewing. So what I did was I took this thread and I measured 3 times the cover. There's 1, 2, and 3. So I have a little extra. Threaded it, left some of it hanging. And now I'm going to go through the center hole all the way through, right here. Center hole. Pull it through, but we're going to leave a tail. Gotta leave that tail right here. Okay? And then we're gonna come in through this hole, that hole right there. So we're gonna poke it all the way through, right here. And then, whoops, this is getting caught in my paper, my clothes pan. So let me get rid of that one. We're gonna pull it through. Now you wanna pull tight, but you don't wanna pull this through. So pull tight. Now we're going to go in this hole here. I'm going to poke that all the way through. All the way. And now, from the back end, we're going to go into this hole here. Now when you come back in, you're coming in through this hole. So one thing to be careful of is to move your thread off to the side so you don't come through the thread, but rather along the side of it. Pull. Now that we're here, we're going to skip the center hole and we're going to go all the way to this hole right here. All the way through. And then we're going to go back in through this hole, this bottom or this top hole, I guess. Gonna kind of wiggle our way in there. Right there. And then I got to move this aside here. I'm going to pull everything nice and tight. And now we have one hole left, which is going to be this one. And again, we're going through where there's thread, so be careful not to come in through the center of your thread. What I'm doing is I'm pushing that thread aside so that my needle comes through the side. Okay, and I'm going to give it a tug. Now I'm at the outside. Now I'm going to go back into this center hole here. So I'm going to pull through, and again, we're coming in through where there's already thread. Make sure you push it aside. There we are. And now you can see that my thread is on the same sides of this. So I'm going to take my needle, run it under that center thread, and pull one of these strands over on this side, just like that. So I have one thread on this side and one on this side. And what we're gonna do is I'm gonna get rid of my needle, pull this, and tie a knot. Excuse me. And then we take our scissors, cut it off, flatten it down. We can remove this. So now what we have is a journal with two covers. So we're going to take this, flatten it down, flip it over, kind of play with it a little bit, finagle it a little bit, flatten it down, figure out which cover, or the covers can go either way. So it can go this way or it can go this way. So figure out which way you want it, and then I just flatten mine down. This is our little bit of a chunky journal, but it's gonna work great for what we need it for. Now we have a cover that is super long. So here's what you can do. You can either cut this down, or you can take half of your book and then kind of fold your cover over a little bit and then crease it. Now line up your edges, edge to edge, and then you can crease it there. And that becomes a pocket. Okay, so I'm gonna do it on this side, but this time I want it to line up here. So I want to make sure that it looks okay when I do this. So I'm just going to take it, fold it down, and if I fold it like this, I still need to go in a little bit so it all lines up. So it's a little bit of playing around with it. There we go. So I can take this now and crease it. And then I'm going to do the same over here. And if your washi tape ends up on a crease, just tack it down with some of your glue so that it doesn't come off. So I think, yep, I think my washi tape is right there on that edge. So I'm going to crease it just a little bit more. Yeah, and I will probably end up having to glue this part down because it's right on the edge of that washi tape, which is okay, or I can put a thicker strip on the top too. And now we can tape these pockets down. If you're going to use them as pockets, it's probably a good idea to use some score tape. And there's our journal. And I got to go back around, make sure all my washi tape is tacked down and looks good. And we got some nice little pockets here. One over here. So I'll be back. I'm going to go glue down some of these, and I will be back and we will decorate the front.